What's up, everyone? Tarun here. I'm on my floor in my apartment. Another amazing day, amazing week. Hope everyone's having a great time. And tomorrow, I'm going to be at the Pechanga Resort and Casino. It's in Temecula. And, I've been doing the road here and there this past year. And look, I have this line in my book. And yes, I'm going to promote my book. It says, when you choose a profession, you're also choosing a lifestyle, which I didn't really understand when I was a kid, but I totally get it now. And I think if you do anything in the arts, if you're a comedian, if you're an actor, if you're a director, writing, not so much, but those three in particular, you have to be away from home, which I don't think people realize. And I'm going to tell you about my experiences doing the road, which... man, let me tell you, the stuff I've seen, I'll tell you. Here we go. Ready? Strap yourself in. This is going to be a wild rocket. So when I was at NYU, I went to school at NYU, and there was this booker, and I was like, man, I got to do the road like Jay Leno. I used to read Jay Leno's book, Leading with My Chin, and I thought it'd be all glamorous, and I found this booker, and she booked me these gigs in Pennsylvania. So I'd get on these Greyhound buses and travel 3 or 4 hours. And I remember it was like right after 9/11, and I went to like Scranton, Pennsylvania, and like the comedy club was built into this seedy motel. And literally the lady at the front desk was like, why are you here? Why are you in our town? I'm like, I'm here to make you laugh. Ta-da! She's like, okay, great. Your room's over there. And I just remember being miserable, and it was freezing outside, and the comedians I worked with just looked haggard, and they were miserable. There was one comedian I worked with, he was the headliner, and he was awful, and his credit was Conan O'Brien. And I asked him, I said, hey, dude, what episode were you on? Because I used to watch that show. I was like, who were the guests that you saw? And he's like, dude, just say Conan O'Brien, okay, man? And I realized, he was making up the credit. So I just put this bad taste in my mouth of what the road was like. And after a few of those gigs, I was like, man, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna get a day job and just work a job and do clubs at night, which is what I did. And that went on for a few years. And I started when I started doing comedy, there weren't many South Asian comedians, and Russell Peters blew up. Right, he got all this. His video went viral. All of a sudden, every Indian family in the world wanted a comedian to perform at their function, right? Especially these rich Indian families. So they'd reach out to Russell. Of course, Russell would be like, are you out of your mind? Why would I do your stupid gig for X amount? And then they'd call me and like 3 other guys, and we'd all have like the same gigs. This guy named Dan Ninen. Anyways, so I flew to these random states in, America, just in and out. It was I used to tell people it was like being a prostitute, because you take the money up front and you black out for the next hour. Usually the rate was like $2,000-$3,000. But if you're Desi or if you're Indian listening to this, let me tell you, every Indian wedding is exactly the same. Okay, I'd fly in there. Remember just sitting by myself, and then it was like the reception. They need a reception after the wedding. They'd give me a microphone. I'd go on stage and just launch my act for like 45 minutes. Sometimes they'd go well. Sometimes it would be horrible. In fact, I used to put in my contract, no serving dinner while I'm on stage, because I realized, it was like talking to a wall. Like nobody would even be paying attention. And man, those shows killed my soul. But hey, they put money in my pocket, and I learned that I got to see some cool places around the country. But I said no. I started saying no to those gigs too after a certain point, because I just couldn't take it. I was like, dude, I don't like doing this. As good as the money is, I didn't enjoy, traveling. It really wasn't comedy for me. But then I got to LA, and I started hooking up with these bookers, like an hour, 2 hours away from my house. And that was actually a lot of fun, because I got to drive to these gigs and then drive back to my apartment and sleep in my own bed, which was huge. And I realized anybody who wants to do stand-up comedy, you have to do the LA, New York stuff, right? But you got to mix in the road work, because doing the road enables you to test your material for different audiences and grow your act and make it mainstream, right? So it works anywhere. I mean, I just think that. That's my belief. Your act should work anywhere. In fact, that's why I think Vegas is a great place, because, Vegas is just a cross-section of America every single night. And you can just, if you have a residency somewhere, God, that must be awesome to do that. So, I don't know. I think the road, people come here to LA to do their dreams and work at Starbucks and whatever that means. But, man, leaving is just as sweet. The acting world is also mixed in with the road stuff. And here's my story about that. So when I was working a job, I was working as a coordinator at some management company, and I got this show called Grimm on NBC. And this is the story how I got that show. Working this job, and they called me, and they were like, "Hey, we think you'd be good at this part. Are you interested? Be like a villain on Grimm." I was like, But by the way, it was a local hire in Portland, which means they only hire actors in Portland. But the agent was like, "Well, if you do it, then you can the week's worth of work will pay for everything." I was like, "Yeah, that's great. I got family up there. I can stay there. Let's do it." So I put myself on tape, sent it in, and I got a call like 2 days later, and they were like, "Hey, they loved you. Can you come up here for the callback?" And I was like, "No way. I'm not doing a callback in Portland. Thank you very much. Goodbye." Click. Now, if I was an actor or something and I was doing it full time and needed the money, probably would have done it. But I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. Lo and behold, I got a call, and they were like, "Well, can you do a call with them or do a Skype callback?" I said, "No, I'm not doing any of that stuff." I said no to that, and then I got another call, and they said, "Hey, you booked it. Congratulations." They don't care. So that's how I got on Grimm. Really, seriously, the stuff that you don't care about is what you book. So I went to Portland for a week, and it was awesome. I got to live in Portland and, stayed with my family, and I rented this nice Nissan Maxima. I just drove around Portland and just ran all the trails and had a blast. And I remember asking the lead actor in Grimm, and I was like, "Dude, how do you stay away from your family for so long if you shoot this show?" And he's like, "Dude, I bought a house here. I don't live in Hollywood." And I was like, "Oh, that makes sense." And it occurred to me, like, all these shows that we watch on TV, on Netflix, if they shoot in these specific locations like NCIS, New Orleans, whatever, those people live in New Orleans, right? And I think you got to be aware of that, especially if you're an actor. Like, there might come a time when you book a job, and you might actually have to restructure your life and uproot your entire family. And I don't think people realize that. Like, when they do this, when they go into this profession, I think they just think, "Oh, I want to make people laugh. I'm going to act in front of a camera." But hey, where are those people who you're gonna make laugh? Because now that's on my mind now. As I grow Bobby Khan and I'm getting more bookings and stuff, I'm like, dude, am I really going to be on the road 24/7? And if I want a family, am I going to be away from them 24/7? The answer to that is no, because my goal is to become a licensing machine, which is what I'm doing. But I think, as actors and writers and even directors, I got a friend who's a director. She's shooting her first feature movie. She's in India right now shooting her movie. She's got a husband and 2 kids at home. I'm pretty sure they're not traveling with her because it's her first movie. But if she keeps making movies, she's going to be traveling. So you better have a great marriage behind you. Because, being away from, I don't know. I should not even be talking about relationships, but I'm just telling you what I think. So yesterday, this is interesting because yesterday I was talking to a guy and he had a full-time job. He's a comedian with a full-time job. And I was telling him, I was like, "Dude, I'm so envious of you." And he goes, "Why?" And he said, "Because you have balance between everything. You have balance between your job, your comedy, your girlfriend, who's probably going to, he did marry her, his wife, probably going to have kids." And he was like, "Dude, I'm envious of you because I don't have a full-time job." And I was like, "Why?" He said, "Because you're doing it, full throttle." And I remember when I had a job, it was like a different lifestyle, right? I remember going to my job, did comedy, once or twice during the week. I had a girlfriend, but I had money coming in consistently. So like I did comedy, but I didn't do comedy. It wasn't like do or die. Now it's do or die. I can tell you, like, I don't have a paycheck coming in every week. So now it's like, man, I better hustle my ass off. I better write as many books as possible. I better figure out ways to make money. Like there's a different thing. There's a different level of intensity when I think you have a job, when you don't have a job. Not to go off on a tangent, but I think this leads back into doing the road because, you do anything possible to work. And, the smart actors take those jobs and then they find a way to figure out a niche for themselves and flip it where you're not dependent on the business. And here's an example of that, by the way. So if you're an actor, you start producing your own show. You become successful on a TV show. You start becoming a producer. You start producing other projects. The guy from Will and Grace, Sean, the guy who played the gay guy, I forget his last name. He's got a big production company now, produces a lot of TV shows. So I think as you become more seasoned as a professional, you figure out different ways to make your life more well-balanced. Does this make any sense to anybody? Maybe not. This is about doing the road, and I'm off on some tangent about how to make your life well-balanced. But hey, these are Tarun's thoughts, right? But hey, I'm looking forward to doing Temecula Thursday through Sunday. It's going to be a great time. I'm excited to do it. If you're in the area, come see me. Hey, drop me a line. Let me know. And I'll probably hang out with you. Probably not, but we can pretend. Anyways, that's it, guys. Have a great day. Bye.